See you tomorrow.
You're listening to the Voice of Texas, AM 700 KSEV Tomball and AM 1540 KGBC Galveston.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Senate Republicans have kicked off a talkathon on a voter ID bill that President Trump supports. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
For the next several days, GOP senators will hold the Senate floor and debate a bill that Republican leader John Thune has repeatedly said doesn't have enough support for passage. But Republicans are moving ahead with the talkathon because of President Trump's insistence. The legislation would require proof of citizenship to vote and eliminate mail-in ballots. And the president warns he'll never, ever endorse anyone who votes against the bill. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Bank of America settles claims over lawsuits by Jeffrey Epstein's victims.
The deal came the same day billionaire investor Leon Black was originally to be deposed. The October lawsuit accused of ignoring $170 million Black paid from his account to Epstein, purportedly for tax and estate planning advice. Though not a defendant, Black was described as a critical witness. The lawsuit was brought on behalf of a woman identified as Jane Doe, who was living in Russia when she met Epstein in 2011. The suit says she was coerced into a cult-like life. Julie Walker, New York.
The Iran war has scrambled the Federal Reserve's outlook on inflation and unemployment and will likely further delay interest rate cuts this year, putting off any relief for consumers struggling with high borrowing costs for home and car purchases. The spike in oil and gas prices presents already divided Fed officials with a worst-case scenario as they conclude a key meeting on Wednesday. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 46 points, the Nasdaq rose 105, the S&P advanced 16, oil around $96 a barrel. More at Town Hall.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I had a lot of credit card debt, and it stressed me out. But what I thought was a solution turned out to be a problem. I kept hearing ads about debt settlement that seemed too good to be true. And actually, it was. When I called, they told me to stop paying my bills. That didn't sound right to me at all, so I hung up. Later, I found out that debt settlement is bad, real bad. Then I learned that there is a right way to pay off your credit cards. It's called a debt management program from the great team at Trinity. Trinity had a plan. In the end, I paid off my bills, I saved thousands, and I even improved my credit score.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
There are big St. Patrick's Day celebrations in New York City.
In New York City, the NYPD pipes and drums. Marching in the annual parade. Victoria DeCanto, watching from the sidelines, says it's her 25th.
The best thing in the world. Everybody's happy.
Ada Griffith is in from Ireland for her first St. Patrick's Day in New York City.
It's so cool to see so much support and so much respect and have so much fun in the spirit of Irish culture.
The annual procession is held along Fifth Avenue and always passes St. Patrick's Cathedral. Julie Walker, New York.
Police in Georgia say they've responded to a shooting at a Department of Veterans Affairs clinic where a suspect was shot and killed by police. One other person described as a victim was airlifted to a hospital. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
Check-A-Pro Joe here. Don't miss the Check-A-Pro Radio Show, your trusted source for home service pros. This week, we're featuring Bel Air Air Conditioning, keeping Houston cool and comfortable. Tune in every Friday at noon right here on AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas.
You know, where we go in life matters, and what we do matters, and we know that taking the wrong road won't produce the best outcomes. Hi, I'm Kathy with Baker Mortgage, and we want you to take the right path when it comes to your mortgage. You know, we live in a world of information overload, but always consider the source. And these are not generally going to be from your big bank or a random offer that comes across your screen. Remember, you're always going to get a better deal on one that you go looking for than one that comes looking for you. You need to deal with somebody who gives a you-know-what, whether or not you're happy in the end. At Baker Mortgage, we do it right. We haven't been around for 68 years because we're lucky. We don't sell CDs, insurance, or anything else. We just provide a great mortgage experience. Isn't that what you're looking for? Call us at Baker Mortgage. I promise you'll be glad you did. We're at 281-313-MOVE or go directly to bakermortgage.com.
Equal housing lender. License number 263213.
This is Kevin O'Hara with O'Hara & Company Real Estate. Our country's founding fathers drafted a document that is the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. My friends at O'Hara & Company Real Estate, we believe we're at a precipice in time where we must take back our country. We must stand up for our freedoms or lose them forever. Please don't sit idle and let it slip away. Don't let anyone force you to do something you choose not to. As JFK said, if not us, who? If not now, when? If you're looking to buy or sell real estate, give O'Hara & Company Real Estate a call at 281-373-3393, 281-373-3393, or look us up on the web at o'harare.com. I'm Kevin O'Hara. God bless America, and God bless Texas.
Check-A Pro Joe here. Don't miss the Check-A Pro Radio Show, your trusted source for home service pros. This week, we're featuring Bel Air Air Conditioning, keeping Houston cool and comfortable. Tune in every Friday at noon right here on AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas.
Dan Patrick for my friend Louis Flory and Ability Tree Experts.
Spring is here and summer just around the corner, which means it's time to deep root fertilize your trees in addition to spraying for insects and disease. Let Ability Trees help maintain their value and repair all damage. Fed and prune tree will be less susceptible to wind damage and uprooting. Caring for the beautiful and valuable trees
Tune in each Sunday morning
and replace should be done by experts. And the experts I use, it's very clear. It's Ability Tree Experts and Louis Flory,
my friend for over 40 years.
Gosh, this guy is the pro when it comes to taking care of trees. You know, pruning is important for the health of your trees, and pruning limits resistance to spring storms and allows the sun and fresh air into the canopy. Trees can be in distress several months without showing any signs, so don't wait to protect your investment at 281-441-4179, 281-441-4179, or visit their website at abilitytrees.com. Right now, Ability Trees is giving a deep root feeding with every tree prune. Ability Trees, Houston's leading tree care professional.
Where should I begin?
Can we talk about this?
Say, what are you trying to say?
Beyond the usual controversial talk.
Blah, 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 on and on and on.
Over there. No.
1, 2, cha-cha-cha. 1, 2, cha-cha-cha.
Prepare yourself.
Okay.
For Craig.
Okay.
Preparing a mighty new spectacle here.
Articulate. Stimulating. Hit you right in the...
There you go.
We start becoming a team right now.
This is the Craig Collins Show.
Lord Jesus. Oh, God, no.
Start talking. Talk fast.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Now your host.
He's a good man.
Craig.
That's right. It is the Craig Collins Show. Somebody tried to sabotage the show right at the start, but I figured it out. I got these things done. Thrilled to be with you. Lots of stuff to talk about. A very short amount of time to do it. I'm only on for an hour every single day here at KSEV and KGBC, the voice of Texas. And so we don't have a lot of time to get to many of the things that I'd love to talk about. Let's play a little bit of President Trump. Today, he had a conversation about the Shamrock Bowl ceremony, which is hosted by a couple other groups. He was shouting them out, which is great. The president celebrating the holiday effectively. Here we go. Let's play a little bit of that. If it actually goes, and it's going to go right about now.
Again, with President Truman, we're delighted to host the Taoiseach, who is a great gentleman of Ireland.
Big round of applause.
Along with someone who's much, much more important, his wife, Mary.
Well done, Mr. President.
She's a lovely woman. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here. It's an honor. Well, the Taoiseach is far from Emerald Isle. He should feel very much at home here in America because so many things have happened that are Irish. But it's often said that we have 5 times as many Irish in our beautiful country than you have on your wonderful island. I mean, that's
you know, he's right about that too, by the way. There are that many more people of Irish descent and Irish people that live here in the United States than actually live in Ireland. The same is true of a few different countries, that being one of them, though. Just fantastic stuff from the president. Very amusing again. The kind of stuff you're not going to see anywhere. You're not going to have a lot of people play this audio of him making people laugh, saying the wife is more important than the husband, like all the basic stuff. And the reason I'm starting the show by playing that, by the way, it's not to overly kiss the butt of the current president of the United States, someone that I happen to like. It's that a whole lot of media would do this and constantly does do this when the person in the White House is a Democrat. This is how they manipulate people into believing our side are the good guys. Like, oh, shucks, look at this moment. When Biden hopped up on drugs, I assume, was capable of forming 3 sentences together that said how much more important someone else was than him or someone else was than any other politician that he was talking about. Those are the little tiny, stupid, some call them even like presidential moments, but just basic things that Trump does all the time that people absolutely pretend does not happen. Hear a little bit more from the President of the United States.
I know you just got to witness him, but it's really wonderful being with you. We have a lot of things happening. I spent my whole day with the Irish. And I should have been spending it with the Iranians, but that's not, in a different sense. We're doing very well.
Yeah, I'll be honest about the Iran conflict as it continues and as people have all kinds of opinions about it, pro, negative, whatever you think out there in the world. I will tell you that I think Trump is going to definitively win in the sense of what he was trying to do. No, that doesn't mean the toppling of the entirety of a regime. I want to be crystal clear about that. That's not what I think Trump was after. That's not what I think will be happening. However, I think that encouraging the Iranian people to topple that regime themselves might be a net benefit of all this. It might happen at some point once they believe, the Iranian people, that there's support out there beyond themselves and how horribly they're treated by the dictators who are in charge of their country. But nonetheless, I think the win will be demonstrating how quickly we can cripple you. We don't have to fully upend you to show you how bad it is to keep trying to mess with us, to keep saying you want to mess with us, to keep saying that, it's your desire to see us dead. Saying that causes problems for you is essentially the goal. And I think on that, Trump will have scored a resounding win, and a win that a whole lot of people I don't think even understand. But to me, this is what this was always about. And what it will continue to be about. All right, there's something else I want to play, something else I thought was actually really interesting. This is Dan Crenshaw. He blamed misinformation for the reason he so resoundingly lost here in Texas in a primary. Dan Crenshaw, someone who thought he was above these kind of things. That's the impression I get of some politicians who think the job of being hired by us to go represent us in D.C. is something that they're just entitled to. When you forget that you actually have to earn it, and that the American people, or in this case, the Texas people, are not a fan of the things you've been doing or the way you've been carrying yourself, you can in fact be fired. We fired him, but that's not why he thinks he lost. Like any good Democrat, and I know Crenshaw is a Republican, at least in name only, but what I'll say about this is, as he claims that it's misinformation, my biggest takeaway is the crazy ego on the people who lose. The crazy ego. And I'm sure someone somewhere will yell at a radio, that's what Trump did when he said 2020 was stolen, even as more and more information comes out that seems to be backing up the idea that that very much did happen. But Hillary Clinton refused to accept her loss, said that it was Russia, Russia, Russia. The list goes on and on. These people, these arrogant pieces of bleep, can't handle when they're rejected. And Dan Crenshaw is no greater than the rest of them. This was on Face the Nation over the weekend.
this culture of misinformation we're living in, and you pointed to that as one of the factors in your recent primary loss. What lessons should other Republicans take from that? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I'm a unique Republican. You know, I've been the target of online smears and conspiracies for a very long time. My election was basically a product of that. You know, first of all, you have about 20% of Republican voters bothering to even vote at a primary. And then you have dozens of online smears and conspiracies that people were going into the voting booth actually believing. I mean, believing that it was worth millions of dollars from insider trading. Doesn't matter how many times we thought we had debunked that, or that other people and influencers and what have not have debunked it. All of these things, people still went in believing it. And so the lesson to be learned is, like, you've got to get the truth out. You've got to try. But ultimately, this is a question for the American people. Are you going to believe everything you read online or that's sent to you in your mail? I mean, Democrats spent almost $1 million also pushing these smears on television. So Republican voters are going into the voting booth believing what a Democrat told them on TV based on
Here's why this is crap. I'll tell you immediately why this is a whole big load of you-know-what. And the reason why is Democrats and some Republicans will smear everyone. They'll say all kinds of terrible things about everybody. And your record, your behavior as a politician that we hired comes into context. If you tell me that this guy does this stuff and he's bad in all these ways and I don't like him, any politician, Trump's certainly at the top of this list of people who have all kinds of things said about him. And so then it becomes a case of, would I believe it? I judge you based on your character. I judge you based on your behavior. And it doesn't mean that I walk into that voting booth believing anything that you said you've debunked as 100% true. I just know that it fits with the narrative that you've given me about who you are. That is the John Cornyn problem to a T, by the way. Cornyn, who keeps for some reason popping up on Guy Benson. I know we air Guy Benson in the middle of the day here. I know Cornyn was on again today. Cornyn is a problem within the Republican Party because a whole lot of people here in Texas have seen who he becomes when people like Trump are not in the White House, and they don't like him. They have no interest in that type of politician, in that type of person representing this state, representing us in a way that we know when push comes to shove, he'll wilt like a person on the playground who's getting beat up that never wants to fight back. He's just someone who absolutely will go on whatever side of the aisle he thinks will benefit him. He's not someone who's principled. He's not someone who has core beliefs that cannot be challenged in any way, shape, or form. Crenshaw falls into that same category. And the things that sometimes they demonstrate to us as the core principles, like these are the things that I cannot be convinced to change my mind on, they're terrible. Some of those core principles are awful when you look back and you're like, okay, these are the things that you most want us to know you for. I also don't like this. But honestly, like, that's the problem with so many of these politicians who inevitably blame anything but themselves and their behavior as the reason they lose. And the reason the smear doesn't work when it comes to people like President Trump is because his behavior and his character shows us that those things that they're saying about him are very likely to not be true, are very likely to be a whole load of crap that you can just ignore and completely pretend no one even said out loud to you. That is fundamentally the difference. And so to Dan Crenshaw, to any politician out there that doesn't seem to get this, when you think that someone's going to come after you and attack you and say all these untrue, ridiculous claim things about you, you need to make sure that you've taken care of business in all the ways you're supposed to so that those things can't creep into someone's mind as potentially being the reason we're not going to vote for you. But honestly, probably not even the actual legitimate reason that you would choose not to vote for this person. The reason being just simply how far off you've been from what we expected, from what we wanted to be the way in which we're represented. That is it to a T. And I'll say one last thing about this. I intend to come back to it at some point a little bit later on. Iran. The behavior that President Trump has shown in being willing to attack Iran, whether or not Israel was like, hey, we'd love it if you helped us here. I don't pretend that Israel has the capability of telling Trump what to do. And any idiot out there who thinks that has not been paying attention to who Trump has been for the entirety of his life. much less the time that he's been a politician. But I'll say that it's right in line. I will back up my tough talk when I think I need to back it up person that runs for office, that becomes someone that gets elected via popular vote. That person is doing exactly what you'd expect of him. It's the unexpected. I guess that's the best way to say it, to put a little pin in this before we take a break. The behavior that doesn't match your rhetoric, that doesn't match the campaign promises you make, those are the things, the broken promises are the things that make us upset as a political party, upset as voters, upset as your constituents, and very unlikely to want to support you again, because those rise to the top of my mind when I'm choosing who I vote for and who I don't vote for. Quick break, a lot more. Craig Collins Show, KSEV, KGBC, the voice of Texas.
Mattress Mac here in the Mac Z-Cliner. I'm recovering from surgery thanks in large part to this miracle chair, the Mac Z-Cliner. You can sit in it, you can recline in it, you can watch TV in it, you can eat in it, you can sleep in it. It goes to zero gravity position. The Mac Z-Cliner helped me recover. It also has heat and massage, a place to charge your cell phone. Come out to Gallery Furniture, buy a Mac Z-Cliner before your surgery. Gallery Furniture delivers tonight, or after your surgery, Gallery Furniture delivers tonight, and you'll sit and sleep great tonight.
If you have roof problems, you can sure see them when it rains. This is Deb Tejada from Tejas Roofing. If you see a leak, call me immediately, 281-251-0304. I'll send over the Tejas Roof Repair truck.
That truck has everything our experienced crew needs to fix your roof, right then and there.
The Tejas Roofing crew has been working together fixing leaky roofs for 15 years.
It's not a pretty truck, but it has everything we need to get the job done. I kind of like the way it looks.
Most roofing repairs cost less than $500. Why? Because we find the cause of the leak and repair that leak. We won't try to sell you services you don't need.
And we'll fix it right away because everything we need is in our truck.
Don't put off fixing a leaky roof. Call me at Tejas Roofing and I'll send over the truck. 281-251-0304. When you think of roofing repairs or a new roof, think Tejas Roofing, your Houston roofing company. 281-251-0304. That's Tejas Roofing, 281-251-0304.
This is Kevin O'Hara with O'Hara & Company Real Estate. Our country's founding fathers drafted a document that is the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. My friends at O'Hara & Company Real Estate, we believe we're at a precipice in time where we must take back our country. We must stand up for our freedoms or lose them forever. Please don't sit idle and let it slip away. Don't let anyone force you to do something you choose not to. As JFK said, if not us, who? If not now, when? If you're looking to buy or sell real estate, give O'Hara & Company Real Estate a call at 281-373-3393, 281-373-3393, or look us up on the web at o'harare.com. I'm Kevin O'Hara. God bless America, and God bless Texas.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid.
Save America Act after clearing a key test vote about 15 minutes ago with a simple majority. Now senators can introduce amendments. The bill itself would require proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote,
yeah, baby,
a real ID, passport, or other government documents, plus a photo ID to cast a ballot. It's pretty popular. A Fox poll shows a majority of Americans support voter ID. But the problem is passing it takes 60 votes to break a filibuster, and Republicans don't have that. A talking filibuster has also been floated, but there aren't enough votes to go that route either. President Trump says it has to pass, saying, quote, this, "I will never, ever endorse anyone who votes against Save America."
Fantastic by the president. That's Fox News, by the way. This is the Craig Collins Show, KSEV, KGBC, the voice of Texas. The U.S. Senate has voted 51-48 to advance the Save America Act to the floor, clearing a key procedural hurdle and beginning full debate on the landmark election integrity legislation. It will require a 60 vote to end the filibuster, before it gets a final passage, a vote that can occur, before that can happen. So that's what Fox News is saying is unlikely, meaning this is essentially performative politics, which I typically hate. I am a person who 99.9% of the time will tell you don't waste that effort in the performative and doing the thing that you know is doomed to not advance any further. But I will say but here, and I'm sure that people will say it's only because it's Republicans that you actually think this is an exception to the rule. When the amount of people in America support to the degree that they support all of the legislation that is the SAVE Act, when it's 80+% of Democrats who say they want the thing politicians are trying to do, that's when I think the performance is for the American people, as oftentimes I think it's actually just for the politicians themselves. But in this case, it does matter, because at least Republicans are showing you, me, everyone, anyone out there, that they are willing to do this thing that everybody wants, and that Democrats are the ones unwilling to do it, much like Democrats are still the ones shutting down a part of our government. Not that that gets talked about really at all, and certainly it deserves to be talked about a whole lot. But I think that this is the exception to the rule because of just how, again, overwhelming support for this is. It's crazy. I want to play another piece of audio. A lot of news audio today, not a lot of podcast stuff. I will take another break in a little bit, and we will play a couple podcast things. But by and large, I think I've talked about, if you didn't hear my take on the Megyn Kelly, Mark Levin drama with President Trump diving into it, you can find it on the podcast. The podcast is available, Craig Collins Show, anywhere you get your podcasts. Also, I am live streaming every day on Rumble and YouTube. Those are KSEV radio pages. Chris Salcedo will start simulcasting his morning show, I think tomorrow, on our YouTube and Facebook page, our YouTube, and Rumble pages. He has his own Rumble page too. But if you want to watch KSEV content, Chris Salcedo is now going to be a part of that. The Amigos are a part of it. I'm a part of it. Pretty excited that he's going to start allowing us to simulcast. So you can find Chris in all the normal Salcedo in all the normal places you find him online. You can also find him on our social media pages. So that's a big win for our social media. And thank you to Chris Salcedo for making that a thing that he's down for doing. But nonetheless, just to, again, say it, if you didn't hear my take on any of that, you can find it everywhere. KSEV, Rumble, KSEV, YouTube, and then actually my own Twitter page at Radio Craig C. I also simulcast everything. I videocast, vlog, or whatever you want to call it, my entire show there. So I want to play this. This is CNN being forced to admit that 90% of conservative voters actually support President Trump's military campaign against Iran. You hear the infighting. You hear the large voices, the Megyn Kellys of the world, as I referenced her a second ago, Tucker Carlson, another big name that feels that this is an absolutely inappropriate conflict. And you start to think to yourself, man, maybe it's a 50-50 split. Maybe a whole lot of everyday people, not the famous ones, not the ones who think they're the thought leaders for the conservative movement or the MAGA movement, as Trump rightfully pointed out. He is, in fact, the arbiter of. He gets to decide who is and isn't a MAGA. But nonetheless, is this really a thing where a whole lot of people who are just Trump voters also feel like it was a mistake? CNN, of all places, tells us the answer is no, that 90% of voters on the GOP MAGA side of the aisle support Trump, even in his decision to attack Iran with the help of Israel, because of how giant of a crap heap Iran can be. Here we go.
Okay, MAGA GOP on the U.S. military action in Iran. Look at this. Nearly 9 in 10, 89% approve of the U.S. military action in Iran. That is the MAGA GOP base. Just 9% disapprove of it. This is tremendously popular among the Republican base. And, of course, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, overseeing the effort. It seems to me that a lot of people are taking that into account, including President Donald Trump, who has been smiling an awful lot at Marco Rubio.
I love that they also are like, look at how often Trump smiles and is happy to see Marco Rubio in a room or around. And yes, Marco Rubio is wildly popular right now, especially with conservatives. Democrats hate everybody, so I'm sure they don't like him any more than they don't like anyone else. But what I think is so interesting and so important about this is as you continue to hear the debate and the people from whatever sectors of the internet or anywhere else that are claiming that there's a lot of people who don't like this, they're just wrong. They're just simply wrong. And it's because of something very basic. And I want to point it out as best I can before we take another break here. Iran is a country that hates us. And if you attack a country that openly hates you, it's really hard to convince a lot of Americans this isn't somehow beneficial to us. Like, it's really hard to say, look, we're going to do some military things here. We're not going to be there a long time. Gas prices might spike for a little bit. We're going to hope they go back down, as Trump has said, relatively quickly after whatever version of this is over that we think is appropriate. We're going to choke all kinds of supply trade to Iran through the, certain strategic moves we're making with the Hormuz Strait and whatnot. We're just going to do a bunch of different things relatively quickly that show the capability of our country to one of our loudest enemies, if not one of our most threatening enemies right now, certainly one of the most willing to funnel money to people who want to hurt us and openly say they want to hurt us too. When you do that, it's really hard to convince people who are actually paying attention to this and not already decided that they hate President Trump no matter what he does, that this is bad, that this is harmful to this country, because it's simply not. It's just simply not harmful. And I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. Anyone that wants to pretend as though this is a demonstration of a neocon mindset, meaning a belief that the United States should be involved in every conflict everywhere and be the world police, that's just lazy. That's just a lazy way to argue within ultimatums, argue within extremes, excuse me. You can't find a way to actually use the truthful information, the actual bits and pieces of, we're not involving ourselves over here, we're not involving ourselves over there, we're involving ourselves in one situation, in one place, because we believe it to be the genesis of many problems that we deal with. The oil trade that existed between Venezuela and Iran to places like China and Russia, we needed to disrupt that. All those different decisions, as you see them play out, you think to yourself, yeah, all right, this is fine. This is different than I'm going to get involved in every conflict I can, so the military-industrial complex keeps feeding itself, keeps feeding the beast that is all the money that is spent there. And that is not to blame the military men and women who are asked to fight for us. That's to blame all the people that are in charge of moving those dollar bills around in really shady ways. This is none of that, because context matters, darn it. And if you act as though every single conversation needs to happen within the vacuum of it's everything or nothing, then you will never find a place where you're ever happy with anybody. You will be the black pill people, as I think Dan Bongino calls them all the time, or the red pill people, the people who hate everything all the time. And you might consider yourself intelligent for that reason. You might consider yourself someone who, of course, stands outside of what, the everyday regular people think. You might consider yourself to be special if you never like anything. But I'll tell you something, you're not trying to find any avenue to change anything in our society if you hate everything all the time. If you can't like some things sometimes and say, oh, I like this over here, I like that over there, if you just hate everything, then actually what you're hoping for is the complete downfall of our country. And that sounds bad. That sounds a bit too far for the whole rest of us. All right, we'll take another break. This is the Craig Collins Show, KSEV, KGBC, the voice of Texas. Thrilled to be with you today. Thrilled to be with you every day right here on KSEV, KGBC, Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 o'clock. And as I said, live on so many social media places, Rumble and YouTube, KSEV Radio, and then also at Radio Craig C on Twitter. And one more time, it's a big announcement. I'm glad it's happening. Chris Salcedo will start simulcasting his radio morning show that he already does as a video product in a couple places on our KSEV things. So not only will you be able to see it on Chris Salcedo's main pages, you'll be able to watch that on our social media pages too. Appropriate and kind of him to be like, yeah, why wouldn't I do that now that we're offering to put it up for him? Quick break, a lot more. This is the Craig Collins Show on the Voice of Texas.
Spring deals are popping up early at Lowe's. Right now, get 4 bags of Stay Green 2 cubic foot mulch for just $10. Plus, save $20 on an Ego 56-volt string trimmer, now just $199. Spring starts better when you save early. Don't miss out. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 3/18. Mulch offer excludes Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last.
Everyone knows the BBB is the Better Business Bureau, but depending on what you need, it's the Better Plumber Bureau, the Better Auto Mechanic Bureau, the Better Accountant Bureau. That's because the BBB connects people with businesses they can trust. So think of the BBB as the better check that business out first so you don't get ripped off bureau. Be smart. Always look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Plumbing emergencies never happen at a convenient time. Usually they happen on the weekends, holidays, or while you're away on vacation. I'm Richard Sod, president of Nick's Plumbing. When you find yourself facing a plumbing emergency, call the licensed and experienced professionals at Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services. Nick's Plumbing has been Houston's first choice for all your plumbing needs since 1979. Our experts can take your most difficult plumbing issues and fix them fast, fix them right, and usually for less than you'd expect. Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services is the right choice for any plumbing job, from a leaky faucet, whole house repipe, or a complete sewer line replacement. You can count on Nick's Plumbing to do the job right. With over 40 years in business and over 150,000 satisfied customers, Nick's wants to be your plumbing company. Nick's Plumbing offers free estimates and free second opinions. Call Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services, 713-868-9907, or visit us on the web, nicksplumbing.com.
MPL 38548.
Call Nick's Plumbing today. We're on the way.
That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Match is back here in the Mac Z-Cliner. I'm recovering from surgery thanks in large part to this miracle chair, the Mac Z-Cliner. You can sit in it, you can recline in it, you can watch TV in it, you can eat in it, you can sleep in it. It goes to zero gravity position. The Mac Z-Cliner helped me recover. It also has heat and massage, a place to charge your cell phone. Come out to Gallery Furniture, buy a Mac Z-Cliner before your surgery. Gallery Furniture delivers tonight, or after your surgery, Gallery Furniture delivers tonight, and you'll sit and sleep great tonight.
Yeah, I need to do that, by the way. This is the Craig Collins Show, KSEV, KGBC, the voice of Texas. Thrilled to be with you. A lot of stuff out there to talk about. Let's do this. Let's do some silly things. I call them the quick 4-ish topics. Dana Lash does a quick 5 that when I fill in for her on that show, I get to also do. So this is a loving tribute to the Dana Show, which I have some exciting news about at some point in the near future. I think our station will be talking more about, not necessarily right now, but at some point there's a discussion to be had involving Dana Lash. Dogs can help boost your immune system. This is one of the quick, silly 4-ish topics that I found. A new study found that dogs actually help make you healthier and happier. It's actually because of the mental health stuff that some of those other things happen. Every time a dog moves or scratches, it sends tiny bursts of pollen, fungi, bacteria, and plant debris into the air. This can get into your body, especially as a kid, and make you stronger. They say that this is true about a lot of the things that my generation, even, I am an older millennial person, got to experience that younger generations are now too sheltered to experience, like drinking out of the hose. My favorite thing that you did as a little kid, and there were a lot of things you did that nowadays would be considered completely disgusting, but were just normal things for us as kids then. But like just picking up, not even your hose, like you'd over at the neighbors or you're over at your friend's house and you get thirsty and you're outside, you just grab the hose, turn on the water, drink some, keep playing. That way you didn't have to go inside and make a cup of water or do anything like that. Very normal experience for us of a certain age and people younger. By the way, one of my favorite things to mention whenever I talk about things that are uniquely different today than previously, and this hopefully ingratiates me with you, an audience of people that might remember these that are not in fact millennials, but lawn jarts. I don't know if they were a thing in Texas. They were a thing a whole lot of places. They were just giant darts made for your front yard that had, a very, what people would call today, probably dangerous metal spike on them that you just launched into the air and then tried to hit on a lawn-sized dartboard That was the thing. I remember playing with lawn jarts as a little kid, and I remember a lot of other people, other generations, older than me, also lovingly remembering lawn jarts. Try to hand those to a child now. Try to hand some kid a giant dart that they're supposed to, wing up into the air and let fall down near them, and see how parents react to that now. It'd be terrible. But exposure to this stuff is certainly a good thing. Makes you tougher. Apparently a dog helps there, and a dog also helps with your mental health. Signs that your coworker has no idea what they're doing was a topic I really liked. This is a BuzzFeed article where people just threw out options, and then other people said that, yeah, I see that a lot. One of the number one ways to be able to identify a coworker who is essentially worthless or has no idea what they're supposed to do or how to do a good job is if they talk about themselves all the time. Someone who can't shut up about themselves and their quote-unquote achievements, at the very least, seems to think no one is paying attention to them, but even more so is probably bragging because of how little they're actually doing. I love that as a take. I'm not sure that that's actually true for everybody who does it, but I'm amused by it, and I've definitely known people who brag all the time about how great they are. Or another way to say this is the coworker who wants to correct everybody else. The coworker is like, oh, you did that wrong. Oh, this guy did that wrong. Runs to the boss and is like, hey, boss, these guys did these things wrong. That person usually is terrible at their job. They're usually trying to cover up all the mistakes they're making and hope no one is catching by willfully trying to point you to, and I'm putting air quotes you can't see unless you're watching on live stream, but the mistakes everybody else is making, because sometimes they're barely even issues at all. Sometimes the minute things that someone is saying, look over here, this is bad. The person who's asked to look at it, the boss, is like, yeah, I don't care about this at all. I'd rather you didn't even waste my time talking to me about it. Those people are probably not the best. Coworkers are just not good at their job. If they love to schedule endless meetings, they're another person who's not great at the job. They want to talk about and not actually do work. They're the loudest person in a room. I thought that one was hilarious. The reason I like that one so much is I've worked in broadcasting my entire adult career. Since about the age of 20, I've been in somewhere doing some kind of broadcasting, mostly in radio. But I did a few other things. I worked for a minor league baseball team for a while. And I'll tell you that in rooms where you have broadcasting people, a lot of people are the loudest person in the room. A lot of people want to become the center of attention. That just sort of fits with the type of industry you wind up in, being this one, or I imagine a few other ones similar to it. So I don't know if this would work for my experience in the rooms I've been in and how many people want to be the loudest person. But yeah, if you work in a relatively not, all about yourself kind of industry, then I think if you're hearing somebody pipe up all the time at any kind of meeting or anything, they're probably, again, trying to get a whole lot of attention for reasons that probably aren't good as far as their day-to-day work is concerned. If they can't handle their emotions was the last one on the list. I like that one too, because a lot of people will overreact to a crap ton of things, and the overreactor, maybe not actually the worst employee in the office, but the overreactor will disrupt everybody else, because they'll turn it into a conversation about how this person upset you or that person made you mad or whatever the crap else is they did, and that, by and large, can get very exhausting to deal with. We're not each other's psychologists or therapists or any of that. We are just coworkers. I've never understood that, actually. And I think I'm speaking to an older generation when I say how I approach workplaces, and a younger generation who probably is not listening to the show doesn't approach it this way. But I've always thought that the best way to be a colleague to other people, show up, do work well, leave. And don't bother anybody. Don't make noise when no noise is needed. Just do a good job. Don't break anything. Again, show up, leave, be successful, cover whatever you're supposed to be covering, and that would be great. We don't all need to be friends. We don't all need to be enemies, but we don't all need to be buddies. And I feel like very often in some of the situations where you get involved where someone in the office is upset with somebody else, it's because of some weird requirement to be friends and not just be coworkers who do different parts of a job for an organization. I just don't get what that is, but I see it more and more, especially with younger professionals, that they care about how they're emotionally treated. and it makes me laugh. It makes me feel that way. All right, another thing out there for quick 4-ish that I like. So they were doing a story on KTLA in Los Angeles. The reporter's name is Erin Myers. She was talking about how bear attacks were happening more often in Los Angeles. It was an outdoor shot. I don't know why news feels the need so very often, and a lot of news does this, to be outside when they're talking about the outdoors. I could get just as much information from this reporter normally with her being inside a studio. She doesn't have to stand outside on the side of the street and be like, look, around here, there's been bear attacks. However, this audio I'm about to play for you proves there's an exception to this rule. A bear attacked this woman as she was talking about bear attacks. She's okay. She's fine. I wouldn't find it funny if something horrible happened to her, but I do find that amusing that you're doing the outdoor hit about the amount of bear encounters that are increasing in LA, and a bear shows up to tell you exactly how true this story is.
Good morning. I'm Erin Myers in Monrovia. A bear attacked a woman walking her dog in this neighborhood, and now they're trying to determine if it is the same bear that lives underneath the house here behind me. All those details coming up.
And yes, we all see that bear off to the right side. We'll get back with Erin in just a moment. We all know California.
I see it now.
Okay,
let's
go back to Erin Myers.
You can see the bear actually walking into the trap, or nope, it was going to, but now it's walking out. We're going to step back a little bit. We may get back in the car depending on what it does, but right now you can see it here. They don't know if this was the bear that attacked the person walking.
Yeah, it was a bear standing real close to us. We might get back into the car. We might not. It depends what our producers think will be hilarious and awesome for the entirety of our TV audience. This is when local news just crushes it. This is when they do the thing that we all want them to do when they're out involved in a story and you see the story happening. This is the Nick Shirley moment of bear attacks in LA, where a woman almost gets attacked by a bear herself while reporting on it. So I like this. This is something, and again, she's fine. Everybody's fine. No one was hurt. So that's why it's uniquely amusing to me. One last one before I take a break. I thought this was kind of interesting, and I think there's even a YouTuber out there who's claiming that this is true. But AI has told us that we wear earbuds wrong, that the way you put an earbud, and I wear earbuds during the show, in your ear, where the bottom little stick thing for a AirPod actually is down below your ear. That's wrong. It should be up inside your ear. So they're telling us it's wrong. The internet and AI is telling you got to do something different. And there's at least one podcaster, as I said, who went viral for claiming that this is true. Here we go.
Apparently, we've all been wearing our AirPods incorrectly. My boy just sent me this viral post, and apparently you're supposed to insert them into your ear and turn towards your face until snug. And based on however you interpret that, it's supposed to leave you with something like this. But now my music keeps playing upside down.
Yeah, no, it's not. That's not true. This is totally wrong. The little stick part is supposed to stick out of the ear, not be inside the upper side of your ear. So I love that people are stupid, that the internet will tell you something or AI will tell you something, and that everybody on the internet or those people out there, at least some of them, will assume this is true and go ahead and mimic it. This is how we're doomed as a society. To me, this is the end of days version of thing. I know I'm being a little bit, tongue-in-cheek as I say that, but truthfully, for the morons who turn on something on TikTok or on YouTube or wherever, see it, and then live every day like that was definitely a true thing they just saw, those people worry me the most. All right, we'll take one more break. We'll come back in a little bit. Thrilled to be with you, KSEV, KGBC. This is the Voice of Texas and the Craig Collins Show.
Tune in each Sunday morning at 9 a.m. for On the Money with your host and CEO of Allied Wealth Texas, Ryan Wheelis, who can help you live your richest life possible during your retirement years. That's each Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on AM 700 KSEV.
Plumbing emergencies never happen at a convenient time. Usually they happen on the weekends, holidays, or while you're away on vacation. I'm Richard Sod, president of Nick's Plumbing. When you find yourself facing a plumbing emergency, call the licensed and experienced professionals at Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services. Nick's Plumbing has been Houston's first choice for all your plumbing needs since 1979. Our experts can take your most difficult plumbing issues and fix them fast, fix them right, and usually for less than you'd expect. Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services is the right choice for any plumbing job, from a leaky faucet, whole house repipe, or a complete sewer line replacement. You can count on Nick's Plumbing to do the job right. With over 40 years in business and over 150,000 satisfied customers, Nick's wants to be your plumbing company. Nick's Plumbing offers free estimates and free second opinions. Call Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services, 713-868-9907, or visit us on the web, nicksplumbing.com.
MPL 38548.
Call Nick's Plumbing today. We're on the way.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Well, I never said it was her. What are you talking about? I wasn't trying to. I didn't imply anything. I never implied anything. All I was saying is that we should look into this. Is just another volume in the ever-expanding library of anti-Erica Kirk defamation. And basically the Post claimed that an audio recording, which they also posted the audio recording, depicts Erica helping to facilitate sex trafficking for Jeffrey Epstein. And again, it was reposted and amplified by other large accounts, Ian Carroll in particular. And now he did do the smarmy, cowardly, passive-aggressive thing of allowing yourself plausible deniability, because he reposted it and said it was something like, wow, this sounds an awful lot like her. And then later he could backtrack, which he did, and said, well, I never said it was her. What are you talking about? I wasn't.
By the way, that is Matt Walsh. This is the Craig Collins Show, KSEV, KGBC, the voice of Texas. He is setting the table in a discussion about yet another fake video, another fake thing or a thing that's being used to disparage Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk. This is crazy. I used to talk about this on my Saturday show a little bit, and now that we have the weekday show, I might as well bring this topic up here. But I'll tell you that my assessment, very simplistically, from when Charlie Kirk was murdered for his thoughts, his beliefs, the things he wanted to have a conversation with other people about, not because of anything else. That's why he was killed. He was killed by an insane person, in my opinion. The person who has been accused of that is guilty of it. But he was killed by an insane person for the things he was willing to discuss in public that he believed. But since that happened, a whole lot of people with either bad intent or maybe some people that just can't fathom that that's a society we still live in. We've seen things like that in the past. We don't see them all the time, so maybe you want to reject that that's a reality in general. Because of that, everybody's been attacking Erica Kirk and acting like the inside job or the thing that happened has to somehow snake its way back to the people closest to Charlie Kirk. Essentially, they have to pretend as though it's a movie and not real life, where the Occam's razor simple answer to a question makes more sense than the terrible stuff. And I'll say this, any odd behavior from Erica Kirk, any moment where she seemed happy that, Turning Point USA was going to have a big event or sell T-shirts, or any moment where she seemed sad or seemed upset, but it wasn't whatever version of sad or upset you think it should be. How ridiculous have we gotten in society to where we demand to control the behavior of someone else going through that to this degree? Like, how insane. There is a version of discussion in our society now. There's a belief out there that all the technology we have, the ability to Google anything, the fact that you can't have a bar argument anymore, because if you say that this guy was a better baseball player than that guy, instead of actually debating it and trying to come up with the things you remember seeing, you'll just go to the internet, Google, look up stats, do whatever, and say, no, I'm definitively right, you're definitively wrong. The arrogance that we have to think we can figure out everything actually allows some people to think that they can decide whether or not Erica Kirk's behavior is appropriate for the horrible things she's going through. And that to me is still as insane as it was when people first started doing it. When Candace Owens and others first started telling you that they've unlocked the conspiracy. I'll tell you something else. To me, there's two things happening at the same time. There's a level of, I can look up any information I want at my fingertips whenever, act like I knew that before I looked it up kind of thing. There's a level of arrogance, a level of my opinion is actually fact that's playing out on top of other people, on top of any situation. But there is also a very rational thing that is occurring at the same time, a deep distrust for everything we see, everything we're told, because of how ridiculously often we are lied to. So I'll tell you that it still makes sense to me to dive deeper than whatever the surface level discussion is on any topic, because you're probably not getting the whole story, if you're even getting a true story at all. If you stay at a surface level of something, if you listen to one source, whoever that source is, even if it's your favorite internet or, radio, I hope, personality that you're listening to, whoever it is that you're getting information from, don't just do that. Don't let that be enough. I think that, by and large, if I want to preach for a second, is the biggest mistake a lot of people make. They look for that one piece of information, that thing that backs up your opinion, that biased version of, all right, you know what, I was right. The discovery bias stuff that goes out there, that then allows you to go ahead and forget that you ever looked into this at all. Not look for another source, another piece of information, some other aspect of something. And by and large, too, and I think this is true of the Erica Kirk stuff as much as anything else, we're a society of such little information. Some people are, especially younger people are, such little tidbits of information now that everything has to be clipped up and snipped up, and you never get the context of something. This absolutely happens to Trump all the time. This is something that media relies on when they tell you who Trump is, how terrible and awful of a person is. They rely on you not going and watching even the full clip of the thing they took a 30-second piece of, a soundbite from, a headline from. That so often happens. And so even when you see Erica Kirk and you actually digest any of the stuff she's been saying and doing months after, year after the death of her husband, you actually see a mournful person. You see a lot of that stuff that the crazy people claim doesn't exist. You're like, oh, no, she is behaving the way I would have expected someone going through something horrible to behave. She is breaking down and crying in what appears to be an authentic way at times while discussing this stuff. How awful that you feel a need to go look for that. How awful that you feel a need to, I got to go find this, because otherwise it's not true unless I see it with my own eyes. I mean, it's my favorite. That's so funny, too, because I've been in situations where I was like at something. I was at an event, or I saw the totality of a thing, and then someone recaps some little tiny piece of it that they saw, and they're like, I know better than you. I saw the whole thing. And they didn't. They didn't watch from start to end whatever the thing is that they're claiming that they have a better set of information on. And like, I did it. I was like, wait a minute, I was there. Or wait a minute, I watched all of this. Or I read that entire book that you're taking a snapshot from that you actually didn't read at all. You just got that little piece of information off of the internet. Like, it's amazing the amount of times that people assume they've seen the full picture in 15 seconds or less. And that, I guess, if I'm preaching at all, and I don't mean to preach on the show, it's not desire I have. I would like to talk to you. You can be involved at Radio Craig C. I do see I'm starting to get some messages on my social media profile, so probably on Friday, I'll start diving through some of those messages I'm getting on X and tell you some of that information. But nonetheless, do me one favor. And maybe a lot of people listening to this station are not the problem. They're not the people I need to preach to. So you tell your friend, your relative, your loved one, or just the moron that you have to sit next to at work or somewhere, to do this one thing. Consume more than 30 seconds, read for more than 30 seconds, or watch for more than 30 seconds, or try to find a second or third source so you get 5, 6, 7 minutes of something that you're being told we fully understand from just this 30 seconds. Like change the amount of time you need to dedicate yourself to a thing, to think you know definitively everything about it, to think you understand it, to think you're aware of all of it. Like, give yourself a little more time. I know I'm being repetitive at the end of the show here, but I can't help myself. And again, if I'm preaching to the choir, if you're someone who knows this, great. Tell someone else this stuff. Say that you need to take 2 to 5 minutes, which feels like a ridiculously short amount of time too, but better than the 30 seconds people are taking now, to get a better sense of the thing you think you fully understand in the short amount of time you went in to look at it. Like, just do that for me. Just watch another video, another clip, another angle, do something. Because it's true of, I don't know, Ben Strusand is still doing the Renee Good story as one of the stories in his True Views, and we'll probably get those updated somewhat soon. But it's true of that stuff, too. You see one angle, 10 seconds, 15 seconds of something, and you think you know what happened? No, you need more angles. You need more viewpoints, and you need more time to digest and understand the totality of information before you can make an assessment. That's it. That's the show. Thrilled to have you with us. Craig Collins Show, KSEV, KGBC, the voice of Texas.
You're listening to the voice of Texas, AM 700 KSEV Tomball and AM 1540 KGBC